Hey, what's up? So for today's video, I have something special. So I recorded a podcast in London with Sam. He's the founder of an agency called Karugo. Actually, I hired this agency to do my LinkedIn content and we grew to 20,000 plus followers. And then I bought it in-house. I also worked with Sam in our growth accelerator, helping him unlock the next stage of his growth. He was at a place where he was trying to, manage his team better, trying to scale and try to keep up with the demand that is personal branding and with what his agency is doing. And look, this is exactly what we do here at Gemflow. We help online entrepreneurs, business owners scale. If you're someone that's like, I need to figure out that next level of growth. I need to know how do I get to that next stage past 100K a month, etc. Click the link down below and you can book a call with us. With that being said, this episode has been trimmed down, has been re-edited by my team to make it as value-focused as possible to you business owners, taking away anything that's boring and irrelevant, just so it can be as packed as possible it can be. So with that being said, let's get into the video.
We're joined by an absolute legend of the game, Shan, Hanif, CEO of a company called Gemflow, which we're going to tell you all about. But $100 million in revenue, valuation.
Revenue, yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me on. Obviously, we've worked together before and know each other, so I thought it'd be cool to sit down and speak to you. Yeah, I guess in the agency game started 9 years ago, and we've done $100 million in actual revenue for the business. So that's just revenue. Obviously, we are profitable. We make profit every year, but 100 million in actual services. So that's people paying you for projects, retainers, all that good stuff. So at the moment, we're averaging between $2 to $3 million a month revenue for the agency, which comes from like 60 plus like clients doing different things.
I've got your revenue here for the last 8 years. 2016, 0. 2017, 150K. 2018, 2 million. And then from 2019 to 2024, 5 million, 7 million, 11 million, 14 million, 18, 23.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the journey and how you went through those different phases. But one thing I'm really interested to know is, as someone that's just getting started, how do you start signing some of the names that you sign? Because I can imagine now, right, you've got 8 years, a lot of credibility, a lot of case studies behind you. But when you're just starting, how are you signing some of these household names of today?
I think when it comes to clients, I think what's interesting in that journey the most when I look back at it is how fast we became a 7-figure agency. When I've ironed it down, I think it took us 14 months from, I guess, starting to basically be doing $1 million plus in revenue. We had hit $1 million in revenue, which is quite unthinkable now when I speak to agency owners, etc. I guess if you were to try to get big people today, the number one thing would be is to stand out. And in the way you try to approach people. Because if you are, buying leads, and if you are warming up inboxes and basically just spamming people, and you think it's not spam because you've used 19 softwares to completely personalize and do all that stuff, which sounds all great, but for you to truly stand out to someone large, you would have to just show them something that they're not seeing themselves, and you have to give them all the detail possible. So for instance, if you were to approach a creator, so at Gemflow now, we help we help all sorts of businesses. So one of the guys that I had a call with yesterday, he actually owns a small boutique creator agency in France. He's got 5 creators and essentially doing the similar to Gemflow model. But it was interesting because he had done the right thing. So he had found someone online who basically didn't have an online funnel and stuff. But essentially then he had approached that guy with exactly this is why you need to monetize. This is how you should do it. This is basically, he did the thing that I believe in. He basically ended up signing him. They launched. They sold 200 grand. He took 30% of the revenue. So basically, he's immediately off. It's a very consultative approach to doing something versus, you're almost using whatever possible to, make a sale. So ultimately for me, the more personalized and care that you would show, you could almost can sign anybody. But the more you go with the normal way, which the whole industry does, which is, get X result in Y time frame. So basically people have this thing, right? You have to have an offer. Your offer needs to sound irresistible. It needs to sound a certain way. When you're starting out, no one's going to trust you. So you're going to have a money back guarantee, all those things. Instead, you actually just have to show expertise. There's no one cares that have you worked with many clients before, whatever. That's more in your head. As an agency owner, your job is to just show you know this shit to another level. So I interviewed someone last night for a TikTok shop role. It's a new guy. He's never had any clients. I spoke to him for 1 hour because he understands TikTok shop in full. How does he know that? He's clearly spent like many, many hours in like the big TikTok shop like Discords. So he knew some of the people that I know, and I know like who the big sellers are and what people are doing because I followed this stuff. But the fact that he knew that too, like, you know, we're most likely going to make him an offer to like work with us. And, you know, he's trying to do a mini agency. I'm like, screw that, come join us, whatever. But the point is, it's got nothing to do with has he had clients before. It's his underlying knowledge. He knows it. And then obviously that's how a client will join you. Because you're like, shit, I need to work with this guy. Doesn't matter who they are.
Most people want to avoid though, isn't it? Everyone wants like the quick hack, the secret email formula or whatever.
Yeah.
The work they don't want to do is
the reason is the world's filled with like, if you sell that, it will sell really well. That's why when you see people selling your course or whatever, right, they need to make it seem so simple so people would buy into it. But that's like 90% of internet today. That's why if I come along and say, no, well, you actually need to send a deck to somebody and actually tell them what you want to do, people are like, what? Like, no, I can't be doing that. Like, you know, I need the new thing that's going to work. Because everyone else is saying my new thing is the way to like get clients today or whatever.
So you signed those first few clients. You mentioned that you got to $1 million in revenue quite quickly. What were some of the like tangible, tactical things you did to go from 0 to $1 million in just a few months?
Yeah, I guess tactical, remembering a few things. So I think as soon as like it started to work, you know, you signed some clients and success is coming. I did a very good job of thinking, okay, who else is like in that space? So let's say I worked with a fitness creator. I quickly was like, who others are very like this client? So I'll be able to use this client to get them. So let's say today, you know, you have got a client and they're like a Shopify like brand. You should immediately be like, what other 5 brands are literally identical to this brand? And I'm going to approach them. So I tactically was basically signing carbon copy clients because I'm understanding this space more and they would believe me because I'm showing them another person like them who's getting some results with me. So that was like a tactical thing.
Like on a delivery
100%. Yeah. Because I was doing the same work. Same work for different people. I also looked internationally. So, for example, if I worked with a client who's like, you know, a UK business, let's just say if it's I'll generalize it, a supplement business, look for the same one that's in the US. Look for the same one that's in Europe because it always is. So even now if there's a greens company, if it's AG1 in, you know, America, there's another one in the US, there's another one in Sweden, there's another one in Germany. So I like scared like that tactic because I was like, I know this thing, I'm going to find more. And what I was trying to do was go far away enough so this company won't care that I'm working with a competitor.
Sure.
Because the other thing you have to be careful with, obviously, from the early days, loyalty has been a big thing. So obviously, if you're like working with a type of client, it's very hard to work with their competitors because it will ruin your relationship over time. So I think tactically, that's one thing that worked. So like I started working with like female fitness creators. So we went fast to like other female fitness creators in the early days, yeah.
I can imagine working with 5-10 clients doing this sort of thing is like manageable, difficult because you're actually running entire businesses inside the agency, which is way more than a normal agent or a typical agency would do. So I can imagine running a few would be, you know, doable. But as you get to like 20, 30, 40, 50 plus clients, you've now got a team of 140, I think you said. How do you run a business of that size? How do you run the agency?
Yeah, the very first few hires that you need in the agency space is and I say this to when I meet agency owners as well, like someone needs to like lead your like service delivery because that's normally the bottleneck because you are like servicing your clients, they're all joined because of you, and then you need to go and sign new clients and you're like chasing both things and obviously shit's going wrong and all that stuff. So it's like and you don't, it's like who could you trust the most and train them to become that person. I think one thing I did well in the early days was I didn't like hire that I need this person, let me go and hire that. For like whoever was working with me, I was like, you are going to be the person that's going to do this. So it's almost like we just agreed as a team that, okay, look, there's 6 of us. Here's all the stuff that needs happening in the business. Who's going to do what? And maybe, yeah, that's hard to do today or whatever. I get it. But I guess for me, I structured it like that. So like, okay, you're going to become the client's person. You're going to become the customer service person. You're going to become the person who manages all the ops. Like, I'm going to be the person who signs all the clients. So we kind of like separated, and that's how we started to manage more clients, or it was physically possible. The other thing was in everyone has these problems of like clients are complaining, they're like, what we pay you, or what are we getting for it, what are you even doing for me, all those things come up. So I was a big believer on like systemizing stuff, that let's just send an email to every client at the start of the week to say, this is what we can do for you this week, even if they haven't asked for it, even if it's a bit made up, even if it's like whatever, let's just do it. And the good thing with my team was, and I was quite lucky, that the team have always said like yes, versus like arguing against the point, to be like, it's a waste of my time. I don't want to do it. Well, I don't think my client needs an update from me. I spoke to them last week. I only spoke to them on Friday. They don't need an email from me on Monday. So like, I didn't get too much of that. Like, I guess I'm being blessed that the team has always kind of had the belief that if I'm saying something, there must be a real reason. I don't need to second guess it. And that's, in the early days, really helped because we systemized earlier than most businesses do. Everyone uses the word system, process, or whatever, but in reality, no one actually has any good ones. I know this because every agency I speak to, yeah, delivery is amazing, yeah, my systems are amazing, and it's like, but they're not, because if I gave you 10 more clients today, you don't know what you're doing. So that was the other early thing that allowed us to be like free of like the inner workings. But the hard year was 2019 in that journey, because we just did too many big, amazing things. And that meant that, we were at that breaking point, because we were, it was growing too fast. So, so it took us time to like get our stuff in order. But each stage is like, I think up to 20 to 30 people, you're a different type of business. And then obviously it becomes a whole other thing.
What would you do differently if you could go back to 2019?
Funnily enough, I would do more things, because even though we did amazing, so that year we launched Tone and Skull for Chrissy Keller, which has now been rebranded since then. We don't work with her anymore. That was the biggest grossing app on the App Store outside of the gaming category at that time. I signed and launched a whole AJ BXNG line for Anthony Joshua, which was a big thing personally at that time, because it was just amazing to sign him. Even though commercially, and he's not a creator and all that stuff, and realized after the fact that a girl with 200,000 followers could sell more than him because he's not a creator. But at that time, it was an amazing achievement. We launched Shreddy that year with Grace Beverly. I launched US operations, hired a team out there. So while I'm saying all that, I guess if I would do it differently, honestly, I would go harder, because the opportunity was so ripe. Mm-hmm. And my only one regret in all the Genflow story is that I wish I did more things sooner, because everything I believed would happen in the world actually did happen. Right? Because
capitalize more.
Oh man, like, you don't understand. Like, so like Creator College, my new business, I bought the domain in 2020. I finally launched it this year. If in 2020 I launched a college for creators, like, I think it would be $100 million plus business by itself today. Yeah. And so many other things like that. So yeah, if I would go back, I would say to anyone listening, like, everything you're second guessing, you should have already done it by now.
Were there any ceilings you hit, or like places you got to repeatedly, whether it was like team size or certain revenue milestones, where you kind of hit that stage and you got stuck there? And then maybe you get to...
Yeah, but it's not that. I'll tell you, yeah, no, we definitely hit ceilings, but we hit ceilings in like skill level.
Okay, explain.
The truth is, only so much I know. And I have no prior experience of any kind, right? So even my personal skill level in running a business, running teams, managing people who have more experience than me, like, I hit my own personal ceilings in those things, and it takes you time to like learn and get through and get to the other side. Like managing a big team, I'll possibly hit a ceiling in terms of my ability to do that, because I was unaware. I think I need to inspire people. I think I need to like provide lots of, perks and all of that stuff. And that's what good culture is. So you hit your own ceiling in your own ability that way. The other way is as a company. So let's say, I've helped creators get to 1 million many times, but if I have a creator selling 4 million, they now have different challenges, right, to scale from there. Or if someone's grown really fast or something else happens. So I think constantly we're hitting a ceiling of our ability to do something as a business. So then the question comes is, we're going to have to either slow down and like really learn this, or I have to, or if I get lucky enough to hire someone to do it. Like even now we're working a lot of retail stuff. There is a ceiling there because I've never done it, right? And then I have to hire somebody. Then hopefully the person we hire is good enough that we can do this thing. So I think the constant things that slow your growth down is your personal ceiling, and then the people in your team. You'll have a lot of people in your team that are not growth minded.
How do you find great people?
The hard thing is by doing great stuff. So, which is not the best answer, but like the more things you can physically do and talk about, it'll bring better people towards
Just
you.
attracts them, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's just like any trade, right? Like obviously, if you go to the gym, if you look after yourself, you probably will attract a nicer partner to you, whatever, right? It's the same thing. The more you do, the better it happens. But that being said, I think there's a few things. I've always looked for someone that has like an entrepreneurial like spark, that there's something in their life that's done that. The other big thing that I've seen in like high performing people is they normally are not chasing roles in a business.
Okay.
So, if you say to someone, what's your goal in the interview? If someone's like, my goal would be to like become like, director level in 3 years, that's the wrong person.
I feel like that's what people think
That's the
interviewer
answer
wants to
is.
hear, right?
Yeah. When it's not. Like what I try to get into is like, what are you trying to achieve and like for what purpose?
Yeah.
And the good answers are people that are driven from like more than like money. So salary and your role title is what most people think like is what my goal is with my job. And I think I've always looked for like, what are you trying to like prove to yourself or to somebody? Because normally it's a somebody, it's your parents, it's a partner. It is something that's driving it. So I think the best people are the ones that are those. And I think the other thing now would be to look out for is someone that says the things that society is saying. So, if someone asks you in the interview, like, what's your work-life balance like? It just means that they've just consumed enough like noise on social media that they think that's a thing they need to be checking to make sure so their life is going to be amazing. When instead they should be like, what's the biggest thing do you think I will do that, that's going to change my life? Because ultimately the right job can do that for you because depending on what you're going to work on. So I think that's the biggest thing. And it's happened to me so many times that the person would be amazing. Then in the final interview, like I can tell all the questions are like, the mindset is all wrong.
Yeah.
So those are like the main things.
And then the culture that you have at Gemflow is quite unique from what I've seen. I know you've got quite strong views on this. How have you built a culture there?
I think for me, it's for any like founder, owner, etc. Like it does come from you. People emulate you without you ever saying it or doing it, etc. I think in the early days, what really built ours was, when there were times where like stuff is going wrong or you really have to do something, there's a deadline. I would be the one saying that, no, like we have to get this done today. But I'm not just like saying those orders and that's it. I'll be like doing it with them. And in the early days, so many people were shocked that like, why am I still in the office? It's late. Why am I on this huddle call? We launched an app once and we were on huddle for 11 hours straight.
Jesus.
Because, but I was there with the team.
Yeah.
Right? That people are leaving, joining, whatever's happening, but I'm there myself. So I think it's, and that's something to celebrate. Obviously, that's because like we didn't do good enough work. Right? So even like today, we're launching something, some shit's not there. My normal incline would be to sit with the team while we're solving it. So I think always the culture does come from how you are. And it's very similar to, let's just say you go to someone's house and you'll know immediately if the person is like clean and tidy, how the house is set up, whatever, right? Immediately you'll be like, clearly this person looks after themselves, looks after the house, they care about the house, look how well everything's put together, whatever, right? And that impression stays on that person to be like, clearly like whatever, this person's, in whatever way like is seen as like positive. It's the same in a business because it's coming from you. Where the CEO is like absent, where the CEO is talking down. For me, like hierarchy has just never been a thing. Even in mine, like I don't think of myself like I'm the boss. And I've never done so. And I think that's my main thing to building like a winning culture. And you don't have to do the stuff that like you think you have to do. So we did a values session. We did all the stuff that I thought you have to do, but none of it matters. We did big events. We used to do company meetings. None of that stuff actually like does anything.
You told me something a while back that stuck with me, which was connected to the house thing. Like, if you're a shoes off in the house type of person, you wouldn't just let someone come in and just like put their shoes on your sofa and just
Yeah.
keep their shoes on. And the analogy was it's the same with the company, right? If you have a set standard or a set culture, you don't just let someone come in and completely disrespect it. Like you wouldn't have it.
It's one of the, for anyone scaling here right now that listen to this, like one of the biggest things you have to look out for is, you don't let someone else come into your house and do things that they want it done. 100%. So like, it doesn't matter if someone is more experienced. Like you can't let them come and like ruin the way you do stuff because they've done it differently in another place. And it's the hardest thing because people learn habits in companies. So someone's joining a company will be like, well, I've come from a bigger company and this is how we were doing it. So I'm going to do it that way. And I've had these massive challenges. And you're like, well, no, I need you to do it my way. And I learned that the hard way because I was like, you know what, maybe they're right. What do I know? I just started this business and, we made some success. But like, these guys have come from bigger businesses. Maybe theirs way is better. Right? And people say, hire people, let them get on with it. It's like, cool, let them get on with it. So in that journey, 2 years we made a loss. And every year they were profitable. The 2 years we made a loss was the years that I started to believe all of that. I started to believe that other people have come in now, let them get on with it. And they started installing stuff which was completely against what made us who we are, why clients loved us. So it was like not getting back to clients on time because they didn't believe like, after 5, 6, you should be on your phone. They're telling people openly like when you go on holiday, turn your phone off, enjoy, balance. It's like, I get it. But in our world, it just isn't, because what we've signed up to and what our service is that we're there for you no matter what. And our creators are posting content at all times, blah, blah, blah. Like if your job is to be looking after somebody or some business, you can't be like blind to it. It doesn't mean you need to be working. So we have a thing like, even if a client was to message you or whatever after hours, you just need to like acknowledge it, not do it, which takes 1 second.
Sure.
It's very different to be like, you're not going to start doing the work. But you're just like, oh, thanks. I'll sort it out on Monday. That's it. Versus ignoring it all weekend just because like, I'm not to do that, I don't want to do that. So a lot of that stuff essentially is why we had 2 bad years, because I guess not bad. We still grew the top line like 3x, but bad in terms of like profitability because we had more staff who weren't doing things enough and the right way. So that's the massive learning from like the whole culture. And don't let other people come in and tell you how to run your house.
How did you structure the team to scale to you're 100 million now, 140 people? I can imagine that looks very different to what it did at 100K a month or $1 million a year, whatever you want to call it. How did you actually structure it to set yourself up for that level of scale?
I think in any agency, the structure has to remain somewhat the same. So obviously, like I said, like client services. So you always have to have somebody that's managing all clients. You'll always have to have somebody that's managing all delivery of work. Then you'll have acquisition.
Yeah.
Then you'll have like other pockets of expertise. So the structure has remained the same. That obviously just gets more complicated. I think the other part is like any skills that you have, like the services that you provide. So let's say today you're making AI agents. So who are the guys that can actually make that? So I'd have they're mini teams who are like the specialists. Because, client management is about keeping clients happy. Delivery of work is making sure we're doing all the work. Then I have these mini teams who are actually the experts doing the work. And that's the separation. So again, like 3 parts to like your organizational design. And it doesn't matter like who your leadership is, who the managers are, all of that actually doesn't matter. It's more the fundamental, like these guys do the work. They're like the smart guys. These guys in the middle are the operators who are going to make sure everything is done on time, in the right order, to the right spec, following the right process. And then the client services guys are making sure the clients are happy and they're getting stuff in the way those clients like getting their stuff or whatever, and doing the calls, doing that. So it is like a system. Where people go wrong is that'll be the same guy managing the clients who's also is meant to do all the work and is also meant to tell everybody else like what to do or figure out in which order. And that's the right setup in the structure,
especially
from my experience.
Yeah.
So then like, because the biggest mistake people make scaling businesses is that you'll promote your best person to be then the manager of something.
Yeah. Some people aren't meant to be managers. They're just meant to be really good at doing.
So that's one thing we've realized really well. So like management and ops is a completely different skill to the person who has the skill to do the work. So you say to the person doing the work is, you stay busy, you do 10 pieces a day, and the person who's good at managing, you're just going to manage, but you need to have the right people. So the manager doesn't have the ego to be like, I'm going to now be telling the person what good looks like.
Yeah.
So the person decides what good looks like. Your job is to make sure it's done in the right order and it's with the clients in the right time. That has been the biggest learning, because naturally, I guess, what I did was I took the most senior people and made them all into like managers. And then we started to see the cracks, because it's like they just don't know how to manage a team, whatever, and they don't have the time. Because the guy's like physically coding, let's just say, or physically designing. He's like, oh shit, yeah, I need to like tell my other 5 guys what to do.
Yeah.
I need to make sure we're doing it in the right order. I need to review all their work, but like I still have all this to do. So we had to separate it.
Completely different skill.
And I had to set the standard of like, it doesn't make you better or worse than anybody if someone's your manager. And that's a hard thing, because culturally, the manager is better than you, right? Like that's how an organization design is the thing. So it takes a lot for someone to be like, you're not smarter than me. I may even be paid more than you, but you are my manager.
Yeah, it's just different skill set.
Yes, but in our world, in the world of business, that's not how it works, right? You're on 40K salary, you're my manager. I'm on 30K salary, I'm the junior.
Yeah.
Even if I have more physical skills than you, that's the way it has to work. And now you are telling me what a good video looks like, even though I have video editing skills better than yours. And now you are the one dictating that, right? That's your classic company like bullshit.
When you explain it like that, it is bonkers as well.
Yeah.
Like it's mental.
And then to those people, that's such a big thing.
Yeah.
And that guy is just trying to get the next role now. And that's essentially a classic hierarchical design.
Yeah.
When really it's like team. It's like, your best player could be your goalkeeper. But who wants to be a goalkeeper? Everybody wants to be a striker.
Yeah. It was
right?
always the kid that wasn't good enough to play striker or whatever.
Exactly. But you know what I mean? It's the same in a company. Like everybody wants to be like, you in the company, like you're playing your roles based on your skill. It doesn't mean the goalkeeper is better or worse, or goalkeeper could be making more money than the winger.
Yeah.
But it's got nothing to do. That's how it is in a company. So I think people need to play their roles and not give a shit about what the title is, what this is. I've had some people like, when they had an executive role with us, like really senior, it went to the head. So they're like, I should not be doing work anymore because I'm like executive now.
Red flag.
Yeah. It's like, there's so much of that. So I think I've been burnt a lot. And the hardest thing in building a business is, it's just the people is the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. We've spoken a lot about agency, but agency is not the only business you know how to run. You've built a number of others. I mentioned a few like physical products, digital products, software. You've got a software company. Like, is there a common thread between them? What are some of the common things that you see across all different business models that have helped you grow them?
Yeah, I guess we're quite unique. Even though we're an agency, technically we build businesses. We're more like a holding company, as people call it these days. You can think of it as a private equity firm. We're investing in stuff. Comes down to the same fundamentals though, because I guess, whether it's software, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's other agency services, it's the same thing in terms of it's commercially knowing what people want. In my agency, I know what people want, so we've built those services. In a product, I know what people want, so you build the right products to sell to people. In its digital products, it's like, what people want. So it's like, ultimately, as I was saying, right, it's like people want something and we're gonna sell that thing to people in the best way possible. So there's a lot of similarity because fundamentally every business is the same, right? You gotta get attention, drive traffic, and then you gotta make sure your product is good enough that solves those people's problem. Whether it's a course, whether it's a can or some powder, or it's your agency service, it's the fundamental essence of business is the same. And I think that's why we do it across, even I have equity today in software business, educational businesses, supplement businesses, but it's all the same stack of skill, fundamentally.
Which one's the best one to start with?
I think I still believe for anybody, to sell a service first is the easiest because you have a skill, someone's going to pay you to do that for them. Ultimately, the most simplistic way, right? That's what a freelancer is. That's ultimately where it begins. You want to call yourself a freelancer or an agency or whatever you want to call yourself. You develop some skill in your bedroom and you go and sell someone to else that I can do this for you and they will pay you money. That's by far the number one. But I do think stage 2 is different now, that every business owner should be looking to sell their own digital product. Because naturally in this game of, let's say you, that one person gets a few clients, you want a certain type of clients. Even you today, right? You'd want a client that can pay this much and wants to grow and all this good stuff. But fundamentally, the world is just too big. That if you were to take everything you know then that you've done with your first 5-10 clients and you put it into a product that people can buy and do it themselves, would be the best thing to do, because you'll start to make money, which will help you then do other things, and you will start to grow. Because there are too many people.
Let me be selfish for a moment, because this is something we're actually looking at, right? We, obviously, for those listening to the podcast that don't know, I also run an agency. There are a lot of people that come to us wanting to work to us that, quite frankly, cannot afford the rates we charge for the agency, right? And I always feel that if you're getting a significant volume of leads, some of them are going to be unqualified, right? So if you're in our position, what you'd be thinking about right now is, can I set up something where I'm just like a digital product where I'm teaching them how to do it themselves?
100%. I would do a line of micro products, because you would know like the angle of what someone really wants from you. So even if that's 100 proven content formats, someone will pay like $27.
We sell that for $27.
Yeah. So like you can sell that. So I would have a bunch of those. Leading up to like something more expensive. It's just the way that's sold and everything else, etc. would like needs like real focus and thing. But 100%, it just means that your funnel has to be a bit more dynamic. So someone's coming to your website booking a call, and you've like dynamically like in the questions figured out, are they basically, we're going to sell them a digital product or service.
Yeah, well, this is the challenge, right? Because we're now selling to like CEOs of 7-8-figure companies, senior execs at like global multinational companies. You have to appeal to them for the main service, but then also be able to sell like a lower ticket digital product, something on the back end, which is a completely different audience. Like selling both without almost detracting from the brand is quite difficult.
No, because I think you should take your brand positioning to like, we are amazing at doing this thing. Look who we do it for. You want to work with us, like, book a call with us.
Mm-hmm.
So if the funnel is designed for like, we are experts, we know what we're doing, we can help you, but book a call, then in those questions that you're getting is where you can then be like, which way they're going. So it doesn't really damage you in any way. I think the way is to talk about it, to be like, we help people in 2 types of ways. I don't think the executive is like, how dare you sell to other people too? True. It's just the way you're doing it, right? So it comes across still like you are a elevated agency for larger clients. Yes. Obviously, then it depends on your outreach. If you are manually outreaching to those companies that are larger and stuff, then you just send them to a different landing page, which is designed for that.
Yeah.
So there's no risk. But yeah, I would say, so stage 1, like get some clients. Stage 2, like productize it. And then you're in a place to figure out like which one of those is going to work better. Because someone who's really good at content, your digital product will start selling more. Someone who's really good at speaking, your digital product will start selling more because, you start running ads, etc. So naturally you could scale faster if the digital product starts to sell more, because it's very high margin. And you might be more digital product, less agency, and agency might be bespoke. But it's such an opportunity to do that today, because otherwise, one by one, getting each client, like it's just hard.
Yeah. Hard to grow it fast.
Yeah.
And then you've also got a software company that I know you've started speaking about a little bit more, and are running physical products as well. Newtonic is obviously big at the moment. You've just raised. Congrats.
Yeah, so we raised $3.7 million for Newtonic at a $20 million valuation. Obviously, 18 months from starting the business. We had sold 10 million at that time. It's going well. I think the cool thing with the raise was, we raised from like the industry, like lots of people.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about your strategy around that, because...
Yeah, I guess it was like, we need 2 types of people to help us grow Newtonic. One is we need people in the industry who've done it before and have connections and stuff. So we got like the founder of Grenade, Alan Barrett, which was a big one for us, because obviously Grenade as a brand, that he sold it for $200 million to Mondelez. Mondelez own Oreo, Nestle, and that. So like, it's now we're like part of that in some capacity, just through him. But more importantly, obviously Grenade bars are like in every shop ever. and he knows so much about that. So that was a big win for us. So the idea was, strategics, business strategics, and creators. So creators, we got like Cody Sanchez, Kayla Itznes, Chris Donnelly that you know of, lots of others. So it was like, cool, let's bring in some creator people who'll give us audience. So it's like, I want reach and I want advice. And that's how we did it. So yeah, how did the whole thing happen? Sat made a plan, made the deck. Me and the team worked on the deck and the financials. You have to have basically a deck which is going to like show people like why this is a good investment. It was like 65, 70 pages long. And then you make a 3-year financial forecast of like, what would you do with the money? What's this? What's that?
There's one final question that I want to ask you, which is centered around everything we've spoken about today. I don't know if you see, I think it's a Naval tweet. I don't know if it's Naval exactly. But the tweet is something along the lines of, if I was dropped in a random country on earth, let's presume it's English speaking with no money, no connections, I'd be able to get back to the stage I am today within 5 years. Do you reckon you could?
I think I would be ahead.
You really think?
Yeah, because I wouldn't have the baggage I have today. Obviously, the downside of what we do today is that I can't do new stuff fast enough. So our biggest is such a weird mental place I find myself in, because I have a job to do. I have budgets, I have numbers to hit, I have team to keep happy, clients to keep happy. That takes so much of my mental bandwidth that, I can't fully capitalize on the AI boom. Because I will be able to figure out the commercial opportunity that works, because I've always done. So like I did with social media, I can't do it with AI because, I have a job to do. So I think for me, if I had completely doing nothing, I think I'll be able to do something very good. And that's what excites me about the future is, and I guess one day when I sell Gemflow or whatever that happens, because then I'll be able to sit and just do that. Because ultimately, I love to solve problems and create stuff. Imagine if I was only doing that, what would happen? That's how. But again, going back to the start, that's like my positive belief.
Yeah.
Because I think like I can always do something better.
That's the opportunity. Is that why you do it? Because like realistically, you could stop now, live a pretty comfortable life. Like you could sell the agency, live pretty comfortably for the rest of your life. Like,
I guess there's Tim Armus. I went with dinner with him because obviously he sold his business. I was just talking about selling, like blah blah blah, and even he said to me, he goes like, "Why would you sell? Because the infrastructure that I have today allows me to create any type of business. So you have like this playground. You would give all that up because when you sell your agency, technically the team is being bought by somebody else. There you completely leave. You're like, I'm done with it. I'm burnt out. Give me my money. I'm out. I'll wake up the next day. Yeah, you can relax for a bit. But the problem is like whenever you want to start doing stuff, you literally would have nothing. You'll have no infrastructure.
Yeah.
My biggest benefit today is actually our infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if I want to launch a brand, I have warehouses. I have a team. I have this. I want to make content. I have a team. I can do it easily. So you would be starting from zero. Yes, you have money, but like that I think would be annoying. That's why I think, I could exit today and I think you could live very comfortable for a long time. But if I wanted to do something, I wouldn't have the people or the team. I'm quite lucky because our business is at the forefront of what's happening in the world due to creators. So it'll be silly at this point in time to like stop chasing that or doing that. And I guess it comes back to just the, I love just solving, finding the white space in the market, solving problems. And I think that's why. And, there's nothing better than like doing real big stuff. It's the feeling of big stuff is the one.
It drives you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an amazing note to end on. Shan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing.